घोषादि गाय किंवा शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताल मधुर मृदंग बाजे परम रसाल शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल शिव शिव शुक नारद प्रेमे गदग कि बाहु कोटी चंद्रजीनी मदन उज्ज्वल दल दे सेवन मला करे जलमल शिव शिव शुक नारद प्रेमे गदगद भक्ति विनोद देखी गौरार संपाद कि जय जय गौरा चंदे आरती शोभा जानवी तट मने जगमान लोभा गौरंगे आरती शोभा जग जनमान लोभा जग जनमान लोभा निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमः। इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरि हरिये नमः कृष्णा यादवाय नमः हरि हरिये नमः कृष्णा यादवाय नमः हरि हरे नमः कृष्ण यादवाय नमः हरि हरे नमः कृष्ण यादवाय नमः यादवाय माधवाय केशवाय नमः यादवाय माधवाय केशवाय नमः गोपाल गोविंद राम श्री मधुसूदन गोपाल गोविंद राम श्री मधु गोपाल गोविंद राम श्री मधुसूदन गिरिधारी गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन श्री चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत सीता हरि गुरु वैष्णव भगवत गीता हरि गुरु श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी नयन पथगामी भव तुम्हें जय सचिनंदन गौर हरि जय सचिनंदन गौर हरि जय सचिनंदन गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि निताय 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 गौरंगा निताय 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 गौरंगा निताय 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 गौरंगा निताय गौरंगा बोलो गौर हरि 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Ram Ram Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Jai Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paurikacharya Asatara Satashi Shamad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paurikacharya Asatara Shamad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavindi Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Go Bhakta Vindi Ki Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveda Bhakta Vindi Ki Ganga Mai Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Vrindavan Dami Ki Mayapur Dami Ki Jagannath Puri Ki Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga.
at the end, okay? He is a good Mridanga player, so he can do Tata for you. So you can do Keshava Gurita 2 times and then do Narsingh is also right.
Namaste Narasingaya Praladadaine Hiranyakashiporvakshaha Ito Narsingo Padato Narsingo Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsingo Bahir Narsingo Hridaye Narsingo
गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि।
हमारे बैठे हमारे वक्ता नहीं एवरीबॉडी कैन मूव फॉरवर्ड प्लीज कम फॉरवर्ड
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण। जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवर जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनव यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशो यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोद यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे हरे कृष्ण। श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर जी की जय, श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय, श्री गौर निताय की जय, पंच तत्व की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं, देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया, भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। Hare Krishna. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, verse number 2 from chapter number 4. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu sakale neha mahata yoge nashta parantapa। एवं परंपरा प्राप्तम इमं राजर्षयो विदु सकाले नेह महता योगे नष्ट परंतप। एवं परंपरा प्राप्तम इमं राजर्षयो विदु सकाले नेह महता योगे नष्ट परंतप। Anyone wants to lead? Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduh sakale neha mahata yoge nashta parantapa. Hare Krishna. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu sakale neha mata yoga nashta parantapa. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu sakale niyamata yogo nashta parantapa. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. Evam, thus, parampara, by disciplic succession, praptam, received, imam, this science, rajarshaya, the saintly kings, vidu, understood, sah, that knowledge, kalena, in the course of time, iha, in this world, mahata, great, yoga, the science of one's relationship with the Supreme, nashta, scattered, parantapa, O Arjuna, subduer of the enemies. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Please repeat. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it appears to be lost. Purport. It is clearly stated that the Gita was specially meant for the saintly kings because they were to execute its purpose in ruling over the citizens. Certainly, Bhagavad Gita was never meant for the demoniac persons who would dissipate its value for no one's benefit and would devise all types of interpretations according to personal whims. As soon as the original purpose was scattered by the motives of the unscrupulous commentators, there arose the need to re-establish the disciplic succession. 5,000 years ago, it was detected by the Lord himself that the disciplic succession was broken. And therefore, he declared that the purpose of the Gita appeared to be lost. In the same way, at the present moment also, there are so many editions of the Gita, especially in English. But almost all of them are not according to authorized disciplic succession. There are innumerable interpretations rendered by different mundane scholars, but almost all of them do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, although they make a good business on the words of Sri Krishna. The spirit is demonic. Because demons do not believe in God but simply enjoy the property of the Supreme. Since there is a great need of an edition of the Gita in English, as it is received by the Parampara, disciplic succession system, an attempt is made herewith to fulfill this great want. Bhagavad Gita, accepted as it is a great boon to humanity. But if it is accepted as a treatise of philosophical speculations, it is simply a waste of time. We'll do the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desha Tarine Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Vesha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. First of all, please accept my humble obeisances. I seek your blessing so that I can say something which adds value to this hour. Also, pay my humble obeisances to His Grace Madhupati Prabhu for engaging me in this seva. I know he must have given his blessing so that I can say something. Today, we are discussing this 4.2 verse where Lord Sri Krishna is talking about that this knowledge which we receive is based on the disciplic succession. Now, we owe a lot to our disciplic succession. Disciplic succession is something like if we look at the analogy of a building, it's the foundation where the beautiful building is built upon. So, someone in the due course of time may become very famous. may become, very popular. But at the same time, that person has to remember the disciplic succession based on which this foundation was built. So for example, today we are all wonderfully taking this advantage of beautiful temple. We enjoy feast, we participate in various cultural activities, spiritual activities, and we get a lot of emotional and spiritual support. Now we all have to understand that where is the beginning of it, and who are the people before us who sacrificed so much even when there was no need, and they gave us so much so that we can have this wonderful time. We can take the benefit of that sacrifice, we can take the benefit of, we can enjoy the benefit of that hard work. So we should always, always, always remember our disciplic succession, our parampara system. So in that context, there are two very important events which happened today on 17th of September. The first one is that there is one sannyasi who was very elderly and was well situated in his spiritual life. He was living in Vrindavan. He had a wonderful quarter which was very near to all the wonderful other stalwarts in the parampara system. And he had wonderful deities of Sri Sri Radha Damodarji, and very nice, wonderful retired life set, in late 60s. But that person took the hardship of giving all that up and coming to a very unknown country and trying to establish a movement which will benefit those people whom he had never even seen. And it was the compassion of this person. It's everybody in this hall knows, but can someone say what is the name of this person? Hey, Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada is who arrived on 17th of September in 1965, not very far from here, on a cargo ship. Okay? So we have a video. Natavar Prabhu, is it possible to play, which shows the glimpse of that journey? Thank you. And if somebody can switch off the lights. I think audio is missing. Let's restart once we fix the audio.
But the second part also. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto was finished, and I first of all published my first part of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then I published second part also. After publishing three parts, then automatically Guru Maharaj gave me indication that now you can start forever.
And then I decided to take on the responsibility of Guru Maharaj. The dream I must come here. The dream was that Krishna in his many forms. when I was on the sea of Boston port, I was thinking that I have come here, I do not know what is the purpose. I was not very much hopeful because it is very difficult task. Anyway, let me try. I had only a few books and 40 rupees, Indian 40 rupees.
And I was maintaining myself by singing this book for 1 year. There was no friend. I was living in an apartment with great difficulty. Still, I did not know how to pay next month's rent. The whole stock and my typewriter, my table stock, everything was killed. In this way, I became very much depressed. And I was going to the shipping company. When the next trip is going to India, then I thought, let me wait for some time more, then I shall return back.
But my Guru Maharaj, he wanted this. It is not that he is dead and gone. That is not spiritual understanding. If an ordinary living being, he does not die. Na annate annamani. And what to speak of such exalted, authorized personality. But I had full faith that my Guru Maharaj is with me. I never lost this faith, and this is fact. I never feel that I am alone.
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we can see from the hardship which Srila Prabhupada has taken that he actually laid the foundation of this movement after going through so much of personal difficulty. Now, how many of us can take this kind of effort? Forget about anyone else, no? And here Prabhupada is taking for those people whom he had never even seen, and just on the order of his Guru Maharaj. And he practically arrived penniless. So we all are very fortunate that it's the place where movement started is only few miles away from here, and we all should visit. How many of you have visited Tompkins Square Park? Show of hand. Okay. So it's for those who have not, it's in New York, and please see if you can visit that place. That's where Srila Prabhupada arrived when there was hippie movement at the peak of it, and there was no, the youth of America was very misguided, but they were actually, they say that hippies turn into happies. Just by listening to and following Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada never diluted the message of Bhagavad Gita. Like here in today's purport, we see that people are using Bhagavad Gita. There are many universities, there are many places where it is being taught, or it was taught. The message of Bhagavad Gita is very popular, but people are running the personal agenda through that. And taking the Krishna, the first thing they do is take the Krishna out of it. Now, if Krishna is not there, then there is no meaning of the message of Bhagavad Gita. It's Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And that's why there is some meaning to the message of Bhagavad Gita. So we all need to be very grateful. to Srila Prabhupada because he has given us this family. And this family is something which is spread all over the world. You go to any part of the world and you can practically follow the same lifestyle which you are following here. Any part of the world you go, there will be a congregation, there will be Sunday feast program. At home, you will have your deities, there is a education going on how to lead your day-to-day life where Krishna is in the center. So that's something which is available all over the world. Is there another movement which is like that? And look at the empowerment of Srila Prabhupada, that he, even after his departure, so many years have passed, and still the movement is flourishing. There's no other movement like that where Acharya has left and then there is flourishment like this. It is predicted that Srila Prabhupada is going to be the founder Acharya and is going to be the Shiksha Guru for this world for next 10,000 years. And we are only a few years in separation from when Srila Prabhupada was in this planet. So, now, one time, one reporter asked Srila Prabhupada that, how do we find if there is a real guru? The guru, there are so many gurus in this world, and so many new are coming. If you visit, India, even here, West, you open up a channel, there are so many gurus who are coming up and giving all sorts of lectures. In fact, one day, it was a funny incident that I was with my parents a few weeks back, and in the morning there is you start up a TV channel and there is some Babaji giving Gyan, and that Babaji was giving some nuskha about good health. And my mom made a comment, just innocent comment, that all the Babajis have become doctor these days. That all of them have, some prescription, some medicine that do this, do that. So that's that is what is going on, in the name of spirituality. But Srila Prabhupada, he was very fixed. That this body is, the only purpose of this body is to serve Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Because that's the message which is coming in our disciplic succession. So, one day one reporter asked Srila Prabhupada that, how do we know if a guru is a real guru? So, there are a bunch of disciples sitting around. So, Srila Prabhupada asked one of them that, can one of you answer this question? So, one of the disciples, he said that, Prabhupada, I heard your answer to the same question when, John Lennon, one of the Beatles, asked. And he said that your answer was that you can know if a guru is a real guru if that guru is addicted to Krishna. So there has to be an addiction. Central position in that person's life should be of Krishna. And then Prabhupada says, yes, the genuine guru is God's representative. And he speaks about God and nothing else. Not like, okay, you do this yoga and you do that pranayam and you take this jadi booty. No. The genuine guru is he who has no interest in materialistic life. He is after God and God only. That is one of the tests of a genuine guru. Brahmanishtha. He is absorbed in absolute truth. So that's how we know. Now at the beginning of, when we started, I mentioned that there was another important incident which happened on September 17. So this is, first is that Srila Prabhupada arrived, around 58 years ago. And then 78 years ago, one of his disciples, then would be, but one of his disciples, his name is His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, he was born. So today is his Vyas Puja celebration day. His disciples, today afternoon many of you participated. We celebrated the Vyas Puja of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki Jai. Now, Vyas Puja is something which is, in that context I would like to read something which Srila Prabhupada wrote on his offering to his Guru Maharaj. What is the name of Srila Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. So, this is an offering which Srila Prabhupada is writing to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. He says that in his offering, gentlemen, the offerings of such a homage, means the celebration of Vyas Puja or such offering, as has been arranged this evening to the Acharya Dev, is not a sectarian concern. Because when we speak of the fundamental principle of Gurudev or Acharya Dev, we speak of something that is of universal application. There does not arise any question of discriminating my Guru from that of yours or anyone else's. There is only one Guru who appears in an infinity of forms to teach you, me and all others. The Guru or Acharya Dev, as we learn from the bona fide scriptures, delivers the message of the absolute world. I mean the transcendental abode of the absolute personality where everything non-differentially serves the absolute truth. So this is something which Srila Prabhupada is offering, or he is saying that when we celebrate the Vyas Puja or when we glorify a Guru Tattva, it's not a division that, okay, it's my Guru or your Guru or somebody else's Guru. No, Guru Tattva is one. It's the Krishna who, or Lord Balaram, first expansion of Krishna, who actually expands, and then from where, Guru Tattva actually starts. So it's there are many type of Gurus in one's life. There are, I think we'll run over time. We want to glorify Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. So, but I'll like to just give a quick context that we have Shiksha Gurus, those whom we take day-to-day guidance in how to do certain things. There is Path Pradarshak Guru, those who bring us to the movement, those who first introduce us to the movement. There is Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru. Third is Diksha Guru. Diksha Guru is the one who initiates us into the movement. That means is connecting us after we are ready, we take the shelter. Then Diksha Guru is the one who gives us mantra, who gives us the Gayatri mantras, who gives us the Harinam mantra. And now Diksha Guru may not always be present for us to guide in day-to-day life, may not be accessible, because of the time, because of the place, because of circumstances. But we have Shiksha Gurus who are available from day-to-day life. Now in one person's life there is one Diksha Guru, but there are many Shiksha Gurus. Okay? And that is the beauty of Srila Prabhupada's movement, that he has created a pool of easily accessible, wherever we go, Shiksha Gurus, who are there to guide us in our spiritual journey from day-to-day life. So with that context, I think we are running a little late, Prabhuji, so can we skip the second video and move to the third one? This is one of the messages which His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj is giving So let's see that.
What kind of personalities are priceless due to their nature? The one who accepts the instructions in the heart. Why Srila Prabhupada is so special among all his God brothers? Did it ever occur to you? Many of them are very scholarly. I had the good fortune of meeting some of Prabhupada's very, very advanced God brothers. And they're brilliant personalities. I was very fortunate to have a lot of mercy from them also. Brilliant personalities. But what made Srila Prabhupada stand out among all of them? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was surrounded by sannyasis. He gave sannyas to 27 disciples. Surrounded by all these advanced devotees. Some of them were not even sannyasi, but extremely brilliant. So brilliant that when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was known for his scholarship, and if he got stuck with some shloka, he couldn't actually remember it. This devotee, this disciple, recited that shloka. So brilliant. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had literally many luminaries among his disciples. But what was so special about Srila Prabhupada? Remember, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told about Srila Prabhupada? He is very keen to hear. He is very keen to hear. That means whatever Srila Prabhupada heard from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he just accepted it wholeheartedly within his heart. And that's why we can see that Prabhupada understood Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's teachings in a perfect way. All the scholarly disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur couldn't understand his actual mission, his actual idea, his actual objective. But Srila Prabhupada did. And that's why when Gaudiya Math practically fell apart, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's spirit was revived through ISKCON. ISKCON is actually the continuity of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's mission. He started Gaudiya Math, unfortunately Gaudiya Math fell apart. And Srila Prabhupada actually is continuing the mission. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came to fulfill Mahaprabhu's prediction. And what is the prediction? Every town and village all over the world. So there was a need to take the mission outside. What he could not accomplish during his time, although he sent some of his disciples out of India to England and Europe. But Srila Prabhupada actually took the mission out of India to America. And then it spread all over the world. Now, if ISKCON is not the continuity of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's mission, then what is? If ISKCON is not the continuity of fulfillment of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction, then what is? So we can see a real disciple accepts the instructions of the spiritual master in his heart, makes it his whole life's mission. And that is why Prabhupada was so outstanding.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj is explaining here characteristics of a priceless devotee. The characteristic he is saying is that of one who hears the message and then takes out from the other ear? No. Just making sure you're hearing. It's the person who takes the message and then speaks out, right? Maharaj said, the person who hears the message and then takes to the heart. That's the characteristic of a priceless devotee. And he's giving example of Srila Prabhupada that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj had this mission, because there is a prediction from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that my name will be chanted in every town and village of this world. So, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, he had spread it all over India, it was happening. But for the West, in the very first meeting with Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj gave him this instruction that you're a young gentleman, you're speaking very nice English. Why don't you go and spread this message of Krishna consciousness to the Western world? And the whole life of Srila Prabhupada went into that preparation. And finally, when he was ready, in the first video we saw that Srila Prabhupada is saying that after I had 3 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam, I got instruction, I got this feeling, I got this realization from my Guru Maharaj that now you're ready. And that's when Srila Prabhupada came to the Western world. So, I was thinking about Maharaj on the Vyas Puja day. His name given by Srila Prabhupada is Bhakti Charu Swami. Thinking about Charu as an acronym, and then what can we, how can we glorify Maharaj? So, Charu, the C-H-A-R-U, C stands for, thinking, compassionate. Maharaj, whoever has met, how many of you have darshan of Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj? Okay, quite a few. Maharaj would, we had special mercy because of Madhupati Prabhu, and his connections, that Maharaj will very frequently, and then we had one of his, wonderful disciples, His Grace Purnachandra Prabhu, who is now taking care of his Maharaj D-Land project. That Maharaj will visit, had special mercy on our congregation. And everyone and anyone who came in touch with Maharaj will, feel the compassion of Maharaj. Maharaj will always ask about the well-being of that person. And all the disciples will have, wonderful pastime whenever Maharaj will come. It will be like festival going on for a few days. And disciples will cook certain things and then offer it to Maharaj. Maharaj will honor it. And then at the end, Maharaj is this nice gesture of calling all the cooks and then recognizing them, asking, okay, who cooked this particular preparation, who cooked that particular preparation. Maharaj himself was a wonderful cook. He used to cook for Srila Prabhupada. So C stands for compassion. H in Charu stands for Herculean. Maharaj has taken very wonderful, one of a kind and big projects which may seem very challenging, but Maharaj has done it very smoothly, and with perfection. To name a few, Maharaj created a wonderful series, TV series. Now imagine a sannyasi doing TV serial direction. So Maharaj was, krantikari in that sense, that using everything and anything for service of Krishna. So he created this wonderful series called Abhay Charan. It's available on YouTube if you all want to watch. It's great, something which will educate us about Srila Prabhupada's life history. And there will be a lot of other learnings. Like you'll learn how to do arati, you'll learn how to do certain preparations. That's very, very complete package. And it was one of the chartbusters. It was actually telecasted on the national television of India, Doordarshan. So in that sense, Maharaj was, Herculean. He has created wonderful temple in Ujjain. If you get to, visit, or if you have visited, you'll concur with me. There is very wonderful facility, white marble temple. If you go there, it's like festival every evening. During Gaura Arati. In the morning there are hundreds of brahmacharis in training who are dancing to the tune of Mangala Arati, Sansar Dava. I was there and I was jet lagged, so when you're jet lagged you wake up early, and I was like, okay, I think it was 3:30 or so. I said, okay, it's early, but let me try to go. When I was there, I saw that there's already hundreds of people who are chanting at 3:30 a.m. in the morning. And then there are brahmacharis, and brahmacharis in training who are wearing, yellow. They're in yellow clothes, some of them in white clothes, some of them in saffron clothes. Wonderful arrangement. Not only that, Maharaj also has set up very good altar manufacturing setup there. If you see our altar here for Sri Radha Shyam Sundar Ji was actually built in Ujjain, Srila Prabhupada's altar in sidings. So Maharaj was, in that sense, Herculean. He is entrepreneurial. A stands for Acharya, the one who leads by example. Acharya is. So Srila Prabhupada is our founder Acharya. So similarly, Maharaj, today only in his glorification, Jayadatta Maharaj, His Holiness Jayadatta Maharaj was saying that he was his professor for etiquette. Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Ji ki jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai, Panch Tattva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Maharaj was glorifying, Bhakti Charaswami Maharaj, Jayadatta Maharaj was glorifying, and he said that he was his professor of etiquettes. There are wonderful classes by Maharaj on Vaishnava etiquette. He is known for Vaishnava etiquette. R stands for Rupanuga. That means Maharaj was the follower of Rupa Goswami. He will not deviate from the message. Message is very clear, right? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we are the servant of the servant, and the only purpose of our life in our body is to serve Krishna. And he was, in the same way, unequivocal. In this message, there was no dilution, that okay, yes, you can do this also and that also. No. Maharaj was very clear, unequivocal in that message. So, I think it's time also, so that we want to remember, as I said in the beginning, that we owe a lot to our disciplic succession, and it's because of them that we are here today, and we have this congregation. We are getting the benefits of this congregation, spiritual, emotional, a family-like environment. A lot of us are from outside the country, but we have a family here, and because we are in congregation, we are protected. We get a lot of benefits of being in congregation. In fact, Bhakti Charaswami Maharaj, one of the instruction to all his initiating disciples was to never leave ISKCON. So that's because Maharaj understands, and Maharaj wants to ensure that even after his departure, his devotees are protected, and the protection we have is of this family of Srila Prabhupada. Okay? And then arrival of Srila Prabhupada in this Western world after going through so much of hardship. So we have to remember, we have to pay our gratitude to them every day in the form of, we do here Guru Puja, we glorify Srila Prabhupada, we worship him, and we have to remember their sacrifice, we have to remember their message, and if we remember their message and take it to our heart, then we become priceless personalities. Okay? Okay? So that I'd like to stop. Hare Krishna. Okay. Natapal Prabhu, can you please play the second video as well?
Hare Krishna. I am Bhakti Charu Swami. I am one of the sannyasis and GBC members of ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And today I've been asked to speak on how I came to Krishna consciousness. I was in Europe, in Germany, supposedly be studying, and the exposure to the West did me a lot of good, broadened my perspective, and I made many friends there, and many of my friends, especially the Americans, they had a gross misconception that India was a very poor country. And that used to hurt my pride. Like, although when I was in India, I used to think that West was the best, but after going to the West, I started to develop some attachment, some appreciation, some love for my motherland. And when people would say things like, India is poverty-stricken country, in India is so backward, in India people starve to death, and I used to protest quite strongly. But then I began to realize that although I am trying to uphold the glories of my country, but how little I knew about my motherland. And that actually made me start to read books about India. And as I started to read those books, I started to develop a deep appreciation for Indian culture, Indian philosophy, which eventually led to India's spiritualism, India's profound spiritual wisdom. And that actually led me eventually to decide to come back to India. Because I began to see the futility of material existence, the futility of materialistic way of life, and the need for spiritual persuasion or spiritual pursuit. And so I decided to come back to India mainly to find a guru, because I decided to take to spiritual life. I wanted to, in simple words, I wanted to just come back to India and go to Himalayas and practice the spiritual culture which will lead to liberation. So although I was quite fixed on that objective, but I was also quite well aware that in order to do that I needed a guru who would guide me, who would take me by my hand and lead me onto that path. And this way, I came back to India. I remember when I came to India, I thought that as soon as I come back, I'll find a guru and he'll lead me to my spiritual life. But, and with that objective, I landed in Delhi, and from Delhi I went straight to Rishikesh. Of course, I stopped in Haridwar for a few days, and then went to Rishikesh. But then I began to become quite disappointed, because I saw that how shallow those so-called sadhus or spiritualists were with their spiritual understanding. Although I did not know what to expect out of them, but at least one thing was quite sure, one thing I became quite aware of, that this is not what I wanted. Like, for example, most of them were just smoking ganja and charas and having a free time sitting on the bank of the Ganges, just smoking and wasting their time. I also I went to some of the ashrams, I also met other sadhus, but it kind of made me feel that all their pursuits were quite materialistic. They were not really leading to any spiritual objective. Their goal was not set. They themselves did not know what they wanted. Like, for example, when it came to yoga practice, I went to some of the yoga ashrams there, and when I started to speak to them, I even spent some time staying there with them. But I could see that the objective of yoga, at least what I understood, and by that time, that yoga has 8 different objectives, like jam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dhyan, dharan, and samadhi. But I was seeing that they were just stuck with the ashram and at the most some pranayam. But that also was very, very basic pranayams. The pranayam, the objective pranayam of a kumbhaka, holding the thing, holding your prana, holding your breath for hours together, maybe for a long, long time. You hold your breath. But the purpose of pranayam, what I understood already, what I understood already was to free the mind from the influence of the objects of the mind. The material world around us is dragging our consciousness externally. And in order to project our consciousness internally, there is a need to stop the mind from taking the consciousness out to the external reality. But I didn't see that pursuit in them, in their yoga practices. And what to speak of pratyahar. Then comes dhyan, and then ultimate goal of this dhyan was samadhi. So anyway, so that kind of disappointed me, because by reading books I already had some understanding, which I found that they were not aware of or they were not trying to achieve. And so that kind of disappointed me. And anyway, so I traveled around that area for quite some time, spent some time there, and I was planning to go to Badrinath, but I couldn't go all the way to Badrinath because it was already, the winter was about to start, and Badrinath, the road was blocked, and Badrinarayan came down to Joshimath. And so I spent some time in Joshimath, And I met some interesting people in those areas, spending some time. And then I also stayed in different ashrams, like Ananda Mahima's ashram. At one point I was actually quite decided, sort of, to join Ananda Mahima's ashram. Because at least there I found something that there were some nice people there. That's what attracted me. But eventually I gave up my search, and it was at around that time when I came back to Calcutta at my father's place, and quite disillusioned about my spiritual life, and quite inapt, quite unqualified to pursue the materialistic way of life. I mean, I was in a kind of a dilemma, in a complete confusion and disappointment. I got a book by Srila Prabhupada, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The book was The Nectar of Devotion. It was the English translation of Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Srila Prabhupada translated that into English. And when I started to read that, then everything became so clear. Everything became crystal clear. Prabhupada, practically from the first page, I had two amazing realizations. I would say realizations, because they came with such profound clarity. And those two things was that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. God is a person. Prior to that, I did not have any clear understanding of God. I was pursuing an impersonalistic way of spiritual search, that ultimately it is Brahman, and the goal of life is to merge into that Brahman, and by doing that one becomes free from the material bondage and becomes elevated to the spiritual platform. But Prabhupada made it so clear, just in few words, that God is a person and He is Krishna. Now from my childhood I was attached to Krishna, but nobody ever told me that Krishna is God. I did not have any understanding of God, so there was no consideration that Krishna was God. But Srila Prabhupada made this point so clear that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. God is a person, He is the Supreme Person. He is the Supreme Creator, He is the Supreme Maintainer, and He is taking care of all of us. So He is a person, He is an intelligent being, and He is an individual with an inconceivable ability. And that is how He could do things like that, create something just by His wish. Just like we're familiar with the concept like God said, let there be light, and there was light. Now, that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He just says, let it be, and it is there. And then gradually, of course, I got to know that He just looked at the material nature, and the entire creation became manifest. He was lying in the causal ocean, and from His breathing in that causal ocean, the bubbles that are generated, these bubbles, each single bubble is an universe. So much, such inconceivable informations Prabhupada provided. And then I began to realize that liberation is not just merging into a light and being out of this world of suffering. The liberation is meant to lead us to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and enable us to develop a relationship with Him. And from that relationship, due to that relationship, we become elevated from beyond this material nature and enter into the spiritual reality. So all these informations came with such profound clarity that I began to realize that this is what I was looking for. And the next night I actually had a dream, and I dreamt of Srila Prabhupada. And that was it, just the sight of Srila Prabhupada. I saw him in a very amazing way. I saw him sitting on a throne, and there was a brilliant light coming out of his body. And just that sight made me realize that finally I found my spiritual master. And then also I was very fortunate, like when I met Srila Prabhupada, he allowed me to stay with him. He gave me a service which actually needed me to kind of, or rather enabled me to be close to him. At our first meeting, Srila Prabhupada gave me the service of translating his books into Bengali. And at that time, Srila Prabhupada had about 10,000 followers. To even get close to Srila Prabhupada was difficult, what to speak of being with him. And although I came to his lotus feet quite late, but I had the good fortune of being with him all the time, practically. And eventually Srila Prabhupada made me his secretary for Indian affairs. And this way I had the good fortune of serving him till he left this planet. And one thing, of course, like when I decided to join ISKCON, at that time Srila Prabhupada was in America. So I thought that I would wait till Srila Prabhupada came back to India, and I would then surrender myself to him, thinking that I decided to travel to different places of Krishna's pastimes and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And the first place I went to was Mayapur. And although Mayapur is our world headquarters, but those days Mayapur was very small. There were just about 50, 60 devotees. All of them were Westerners, and they were young Americans and Europeans. And they all were very inviting. When I went there, they requested me to stay and be with them and at least try it out. And so I thought, as it is, I made up my mind to join Srila Prabhupada's movement, join ISKCON. And now that these devotees were requesting me to stay with them, be a part of the movement already, I said, why not? And without telling anything to anybody, I just went to the barber, shaved my head, and went to the Ganges and threw away my old clothes and put on the Indian dress, the devotee dress, dhoti and kurta. And at that time I thought that I'll give it a try for 2 months. And if I don't like it, by that time my hair will grow and then I can go back home. But since then, these 2 months did not really end. And on the other hand, the more I am getting involved, the more time I'm passing, the more I'm becoming convinced about this wonderful process. And why this is so convincing? Because this not only takes us beyond this material nature, not only enables us to usher into the spiritual world, but it actually takes us to the highest region of the spiritual sky, where one gets an opportunity to develop a loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A direct loving relationship with the Lord, like that of a friend, like that of between father and children, or like between lover and beloved. So that is the highest relationship that one can ever achieve with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then even higher than that, developing a relationship, loving relationship with the Lord in friendship, parental and conjugal love, even higher than that is the distribution of that loving relationship, inviting others to come to develop their relationship with the Lord. Make people understand who God is, what is our relationship with Him is like, and how we can develop our relationship with Him. By educating them in this way, then we can bring them to a platform where they can practically develop their relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In simple words, it's very high. It is a very high spiritual achievement to develop a loving relationship with the Lord, but even higher is to distribute this love to others, enabling them to come close to the Lord. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
And over the whole world goes a drama of hysterical joy.
World War I promised us a
Hare Krishna. Sir Bhakti Jai Swami Maharaj ki jai. Thank you very much for watching till the end. Today's Sunday feast is sponsored by a few families. Quick announcements. It's Nainesh Patel and family for the wedding of their son. Nainesh Patel, Prabhu, is he here? Okay. And then Ashesh, our Ashesh Karuna Jagannath Prabhu, in memory of his mother Hemlata Das Mahapatra. Oh, okay. And also our third sponsor, the disciples of Bhakti Chandra Swami Maharaj, is also sponsoring today's feast. So let's thank all of them with a loud Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. The quick announcement, coming Friday, September 22nd, is Radhasmi. Srimati Radharani ki jai. So we'll be having celebration on the same day. Radhasmi is in one sense bigger than Janmasmi because if we have the mercy of Srimati Radharani, we can get the mercy of Krishna. Without the mercy of Srimati Radharani, we cannot get Krishna, right? So we'll be having celebration here from 6 to 9 in the evening. And the whole day there will be lots of services. And one way we can serve Srimati Radharani is to cook for Srimati Radharani. Because the kitchen belongs to Srimati Radharani, and each and every day she prepares new and new items for Lord Krishna. Right? So as many items we can cook for Srimati Radharani on that day, that's the special blessings of Srimati Radharani. Yeah? So you can cook, bring it here. If your kitchen is kosher, you are not using any onion and garlic at your home, then please cook, otherwise bring some fruits here. All right? Cooking service, yeah. If you cannot cook at home, come here. Cooking for the Radhasmi feast will start at 2 p.m. and you can help out in cooking. Thank you. Haribol. And then Saturday, 23rd September, is the last Rath Yatra here in North America. I won't say North America, but especially in the Festival of India. session. So that's in Philadelphia. And the Rath Yatra starts at 11 a.m. So we encourage you all to join the Rath Yatra, Jagannath Rath Yatra in Philadelphia. If you want more information, please contact us. We can get you more information on that. Okay. 29th. Friday 29th is Bhadra Purnima. And what the special thing about Bhadra Purnima is Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? We saw the video of Srila Prabhupada putting so much efforts to write Srimad Bhagavatam and distributing Srimad Bhagavatam. So on Bhadra Purnima day, it's mentioned that whoever distributes Srimad Bhagavatam, because on Bhadra Purnima day was the appearance of Srimad Bhagavatam. The appearance of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami spoke to Parikshit Maharaj on Bhadra Purnima day. Right. So if you distribute on Bhadra Purnima day, you get special blessings. Yeah. And we'll also get this nice Matsya stand along with your Bhagavatam set. Right. And then we have World Holy Name Week starting today is the World Holy Name Week, 17th of September to 24th September. So if anybody in their homes would like to hold Kirtan and invite some of our devotees for Kirtan, will be propagation of the World Holy Name Week. Okay? Hare Krishna. Please honor Krishna Prasadam. Hari Hari Bol. Jai.